Hi, my name is Ben, physical therapist here at Total Physical Therapy, and today we get to continue our video series looking through the activity guidelines for Americans. And in today's video, we are going to go specifically over what are the guidelines for aerobic activity. In the guidelines, they break down activities into basically 4 different groups. They have aerobic activity, strengthening activity, flexibility activities, and balance activities. And in today's video, we are going to be going over how much aerobic activity you should be having. And in previous videos, we laid down the groundwork for different terms that we are going to be using throughout this discussion, such as light intensity and moderate intensity and vigorous activity and things like the talk test, to be able to determine what activities are what types of intensity. And so if you don't quite understand what those things are, go back and refer to some of those videos before watching this video. And for aerobic activity, the U.S. Department of Human and Health Services have recommended that we get a minimum of 150 minutes of moderate intensity activity a week. Now, why did they pick 150 minutes of moderate intensity activity? And that's because whenever people are meeting this minimum threshold, they're seeing a bunch of different health improvements, things such as lower risk of all-cause mortality, cardiovascular disease, strokes, diabetes, hypertension, anxiety, stress, Alzheimer's disease, and some dementias. We also see improvements in sleep quality, improved cognition, and better quality of life. You also see additional benefits up to about 300 minutes a week for various things such as lower risk of coronary heart disease and hypertension and diabetes and things like that. And for the people who are very motivated, they actually don't even see a ceiling for these health benefits. You can continue to receive health benefits beyond 300 minutes a week. And to this point, they haven't figured out a maximum level or a ceiling effect for activity. Well, when most people hear a number like 150 minutes a week, it's hard to really digest that number really well. So a better way to think about this is you can split up this 150 minutes a week into multiple bouts per week. For example, I could split 150 minutes per week in 3 50-minute sessions throughout the week. So maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm doing moderate-based activity for 50 minutes. I can also break down this activity into 5 days a week where I'm doing 30 minutes at a time. And so we don't have to think about 150 minutes as like, one day I got to do 150 minutes. You could do that, but that would be very exhausting. You can easily break this down throughout the week and make it more palatable for you. So 150 to 300 minutes per week of moderate-based activity is what they recommend. However, you can also get away with doing vigorous activity for half the amount of time. There's this 2-to-1 ratio that they talk about in the document, which basically states that for every 1 minute of vigorous activity that you do, it accounts for about 2 minutes of moderate-based activity. So if you're doing vigorous activity, then you could get away with somewhere between 75 minutes to 150 minutes a week of vigorous activity, or any combination thereof. And as stated before, there are a bunch of different activities that for the average American, these activities can fall under the moderate-based activity or vigorous-based activity. And so if you are wondering what types of activities should I be doing, this list will hopefully give you some ideas of what activities you can be doing in order to meet the quota of 150 minutes a week of moderate-based activity. And remember, if you're in doubt of what activities are actually in what categories, you can do the talk test to determine if that activity is actually in the moderate-based activity or vigorous-based activity. Now that we know what the guidelines are for aerobic activity, I want to provide one practical advice from this video. You now know how much it takes to meet the minimum required guidelines. And the simple question I have for you is, do you meet the guidelines or do you not meet the guidelines? If you are meeting the guidelines, that is excellent because you're probably seeing a lot of those health benefits that we talked about earlier. If you're not seeing as much of those benefits as you would like to see, then feel free to start working your way up in the amount of moderate or vigorous-based activity that you are doing to be able to see more of those health benefits. If you do not currently meet those guidelines, The question that we should be asking ourselves is, why do we not meet those guidelines? Now, everybody is unique. Everybody comes with their different journeys and their different obstacles and their different things that they bring to the table. And so everyone's going to be unique in answering the question of why. But I want you to simply reflect and think about why you are not meeting them. Is it because of some simple things such as, well, I just don't do much during the day. I've got plenty of time and I just don't do much. Well, in that case, it's just a matter of I just need to get motivated to be able to get up and move and do a little bit more. There could be some trickier things like, well, I have this injury and I don't understand how to be able to navigate my injury to be able to meet the required guidelines. In those cases, you probably need specific medical advice from some medical professional, whether it be a physical therapist or a doctor. Some people may run into obstacles where it's just a time issue. And in my life, I definitely run into time issues. And so you may have to be thinking more strategically on how you use your time and what the priorities are in your life and how you can fit things in when you're able to get them in. But everybody comes to the table with a different why. I want you to simply just reflect on what those are and try to start thinking about strategies to help you overcome those obstacles, to be able to help you meet these minimum guidelines. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a thumbs up. If you guys have any comments or questions, leave those down in the comment section below. And as always, I hope you guys have a great day.